Hey everybody, Jake here from Bearded Gear, and I wanted to give you a kind of final update on this clip. This is the deep carry Pops custom clip for the Demko AD-20, and I showed my unboxing and install of this not too long ago when I got it in the mail, and I was pretty excited about it because if you know me, and you watch many of my videos, or even just a few of my videos, you'll probably have heard me say something like, loop over deep carry clips are my favorite. And that's my preference, and that's what I want on knives. And this knife does not come with a loop over style deep carry clip. And I always thought it would be great to have a loop over style deep carry clip for it. So when I saw on Facebook, I think it was, that somebody posted that they had one of these, they showed it on their knife, I was like, where did you get that? And I found out it was on Etsy from some seller named Pops Custom Clips. Apparently he makes clips for a lot of knives. This is not the first clip that he has made. And I reached out to him. I think I messaged the Instagram, and it was like his daughter who DM'd back. She was like, yeah, we're taking orders for those. We'll have a listing up later today kind of thing. And I was like, sweet. And then later in the day, I checked. The listing was up. I ordered one. He offered it in a bunch of different finishes and anodizing colors and all that. It is titanium, so it can be anodized. But I just went with like a gray, kind of stone-washed or sandblasted, I think I went with. Is it stone-washed? I don't know. It's gray. It's just titanium because the knife is gray and simple, and I didn't want to distract from a knife that I frankly adore. So I was excited to try this one out, and I tried it out, and newsflash, I really don't like it. I don't hate it. It's not a big problem, but there are a couple of things that I'll share feedback-wise in case for any reason my opinion matters to them, or just if you happen to align with my preferences, maybe you'll know whether these things will kind of be deal breakers for you. Because at the end of this video, I'm putting the factory clip back on. That's going to happen. I prefer it with the factory clip. So first things first, I do prefer that it carries deeper. But that's the only thing about this clip that I prefer. It does carry all the way to the end of the knife and even slightly past it. To be honest, I do prefer when it's just right at the end. I'd rather have it go further than not all the way, but my preference is for it to end where the knife ends. I think that's the best. This goes just a hair deeper than I would prefer, but again, I'd take this over the factory clip placement of how deep it carries. What I'm not super crazy about are a couple of things. Number one, this tip right here, it comes down and then up, and then it stays up. There's no plateau to it. On a lot of knife clips, if they're this aggressively upticked, like if it's that much of a ramp, I think a plateau makes a lot of difference. If you just flatten it back out and match this flat angle and have a little tabletop there, it will be much more comfortable in hand, because in hand this knife or this clip is a hot spot. Like each time that I've carried it with this clip on, which has only been a handful of times because I already know this knife super well. It's just trying to figure out whether I like this clip better or not. It's just uncomfortable in my hand, especially in this kind of most primary grip. I do choke up on this knife now and then, and when I'm choked up, it's not as bad, but I do still feel it in my palm. And it's just unpleasant. Not only is the tip pretty proud here, but the clip itself sits too high off of the knife, I think. It's a pet peeve of mine when clips are too tight to the knife, because then you can't get a pair of jeans in there, but it sits so high up off of here, and that's also uncomfortable in hand. And so when you pair how much worse it feels in hand than the factory clip, which I'll hold up to show you what I mean about the plateau thing as well, because I'm looking at it right now. It's in the baggie that the Pops custom clip came in. If you look at the end of this clip, do you see how it bulges down? That's what contacts the scale of the knife, right? And then here, it plateaus. It levels back out. That's, in my opinion, not necessarily on every knife, but I think it's important. And oftentimes when a clip feels hot spotty, it's that precise spot. And if they were to just dip it down a little bit, stop that angle up, get a lot more comfortable again. So obviously every hand is different. My hands, I wear medium-sized gloves, but I fill them out real well. And it just, for me, it's too much of a hotspot for me to enjoy the benefit of it being deep carry, which I will say, it's a benefit to me. I prefer for it to be deep carry. But if it doesn't feel right in hand, that's more important than having a little bit of knife sticking out of my pocket. Especially because on the AD-20, this knife to me is like the definition in my collection of a hard use folder. This knife is an absolute bruiser and a tank. And it's a hard use knife. And so when I'm hard using a knife, ergos are incredibly important. If it's digging into my hand, then it's not a hard use knife anymore because I'm going to want to put it down and stop working with it. Like, just kind of the way I look at it. So we're going to go ahead and swap this off. But before I do, I should show it in pocket once. This is going to suck because I'm literally in basketball shorts. Let me see if I can stand on here. You can see me. Does that work? Oh, it works. Yes. All right. That's good. I don't have to move the camera. So, in pocket, these basketball shorts are probably not the best representation, but it is deep. Hides the knife pretty well. That's great. Retention is pretty good. These, again, this is basketball shorts, so it's going to suck for this, but take my word. Retention on normal shorts has been pretty good. Oh, let me come back down here. I ran a lot today, so my legs are really tired. Retention in pocket is totally fine. In and out of pocket, it's just as smooth as the factory clip was. I didn't have an issue there. It's really just how it feels in hand at the end of the day. The tip of it, and with how proud it sits off of the knife, it's just uncomfortable for me. Again, my hands are not gigantic. Maybe if you have extra large hands, then for you, it won't be a problem at all, the way it sits in your hand. I do know Kevin, left EDC, got one of these as well. I told him that I ordered one. He was like, sweet, I'll get one too. And for him, it was kind of the same thing. He doesn't like it, and his hands are bigger than mine. So I know he also put his factory clip back on. But yeah, I mean, this is an option. So I'm glad that the aftermarket has provided an option, especially on a knife that's pretty limited production, like the Demko AD-20. There's not a ton of these out there, at least yet. And so like the MXGs and the Lynch Northwests of the world, I don't know how much sense it makes for them to engineer a deep carry clip for it. This is also a knife that like people aren't even really making aftermarket scales for yet that I've seen, and I hope they start to. I'd love to get a set of micarta scales for this or something, but it's just there's not enough of these out there, I think, for a lot of these aftermarket makers to justify like doing the R&D and building the part and then setting it up on the site, and like there's work that goes into that. So the fact that Pops is doing it, I think, is commendable. I like that it's a thing that he offers. It doesn't, an application actually work well enough for me to justify keeping it on here. So we're going to go ahead and pull this off. I think it's T8s. Yep, I need my T8. I left the factory hardware on here, so we're going to pull those factory screws back out. I have my work mat over here, but I don't want to reposition the camera just for this quick 30-second shot. There we go. The clip is already off. This is the old clip. I'm going to go ahead and I like to put my screws in the clip before I set it on the knife. That's my little bearded gear hack for you today. Just helps me set it on. It's easier to get the screws started that way. Bada bing. Bada boom. Tighten this one down. And we are back to factory. So there you have it. Factory clip is back on here. And yeah, if there's another option that ends up coming out of a deep carry clip for the Demko AD-20, I'll probably try it. I would like for this knife to be deep carry. Like if the clip profile could stay like this, but just go back here, I'd be sold. I want one. So we'll see. Maybe over time, another option will surface, and if that is the case, then I'll get one and I'll try it. But until then, this sucker's gonna keep riding factory original. And I adore this knife either way, so it's not gonna clearly the clip hasn't been a deal breaker for me. it's a top 5 knife for sure. I think in my last top 10, I ranked it number 2. We'll see where it shakes up in the next one that I'm doing here soon, but the Demko AD-20 is a phenomenal knife. So anyway, this is going to go back into my drawer of spare parts in case I ever decide to do something with it. And yeah, we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for checking it out and riding along today. We'll see you.